Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I am Hyacinth Henderson. I am joined with my father.
Hi, I'm Robert Henderson. I don't know why we seem to be crooked or something. You know what I mean?
I
Like
don't
we're
know. We
going
didn't
that way.
check it. Probably.
I don't know.
We're
Hi,
always
I'm
doing it
Robert
rough
Henderson
away.
Jr.,
It's your chair.
President, founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. Happy Wednesday. I'm a certified financial planner, certified tax coach. Been involved in financial services for over 30 years. My beautiful daughter here, who's my succession plan, and much more than that. Creative. You know, you get more creative and more creative and creative and creative. You know, I like what you're doing with the website. I mean, you really doing your thing, man. I tell you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you had eyes,
Eyes to see and ears to hear.
but more than that, not just physical eyes, but vision.
And that's important.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Very important. And that's what a lot of people, as a matter of fact, that's what we're going to segue and talk about today, right?
Absolutely. The ability to see. And before we do that, so I am Hyacinth Henderson. I am a licensed stockbroker, also a registered investment advisor representative, an annuity and insurance broker as well. And I have been here 21 years.
Yeah.
21 years, 21 fabulous and fruitful, I must say, years.
And learning
And
years,
learning.
growing, earning, yearning, growing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Earning, learning, and growing. And I agree about the creativity. I feel like I am now at a space. So I feel like I've kind of generally been creative. What's that?
I don't know.
Let me see.
Oh,
that's for the thing. That's probably why your microphone is doing the. Oh, it actually, this one is missing. So I feel like I I've always been imaginative.
Yes.
Right.
Always,
So
always.
that's why I always, even now, I dance around, sing around, like do voices and everything. I make his life exciting.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that?
Always have.
Sometimes
Always
he's like,
have. If you're falling down the stairs, who was that? Hi, see.
he's like, I see. And I'm just like, woo. So I bring that to this conversation because I've always had that in me and somebody's going to be blessed from this. However, I allowed how I thought I should be in the world and what my, I guess, expectation of how one was supposed to behave to trump what was in me, right? So now that I am past that space, I am able to create and realize that people are going to see things differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I can create in this way. And so now it's more confident in my creation.
Yes, you get that,
More
Miss
confident.
Redhead. You get that. You put
Okay.
Miss Redhead. Are you
Picking up.
picking up what she's putting down, Mr.
Yes.
Redhead? I know you are.
Yesterday, my sister-in-law called me. I love saying that too. My sister-in-law.
Okay,
It's my first sister-in-law. She
Shay?
I only have one.
that's right. Because you only that's
Right.
'cause
You only have one.
brother.
You only have one married child. How does that?
That's true. I never thought about it like that. You
Out
know
of
that?
all 5 of us.
Out of all 5 of y'all, you know, I have one married child.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. You know, it took me a while to think about. I had 5 children.
Really?
I
Who did you think we just?
I just knew y'all, and y'all had y'all, and I just went to the flow. I just went with the flow. I didn't really count. You know what I mean? I just like, okay, that's Heisey, that's Robert. You know,
Oh my
Paris,
goodness.
Jasmine, Tempest. I just went with it.
Right. Okay. You got 5 children. So my one and only sister-in-law called and I thanked her. She actually texted and I got back to her hours later because my phone these days is on do not disturb, meaning I don't want to be disturbed. Right. So I got back to her and she's always great speaking with her. And she was telling me about, she looked up a system, human design, and she said, I didn't understand it, but I felt like you would know. And I was like, girl, you called the right person. And so I felt good that she knew that I am out there in such a way that if she comes across something, she's like, I know this stuff. Right. So anyway, that's me stepping more and being more out there in the unknown and unseen, which is a good segue into our topic today, which today we're talking about things that are hidden in plain sight. And as I was doing my AM studies this rising, I read a scripture in Matthew.
Okay,
And
my favorite book of the Bible.
Yes. And so what I do sometimes, I'll just like thumb through the book that I'm reading and say, wherever it lands, that's the message that I need for today.
Okay.
And so it said, Matthew 13:10, the disciples came to him and asked, no.
Oh, okay.
The disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak in parables? And he replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And before y'all start, I want y'all to know this is not Bible study. Like, don't get comfortable. This is not Bible study. I also want you to know that this is not going to be a religious conversation. But that stuck out to me. And I immediately started thinking about all the shifts and all the changes that are taking place in the world right now. And when it says, whoever has, more will be given unto them. And let me read it again, because I want to say has not, but I don't think it says that. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, okay, I was right. Even what they have will be taken from them. And so when I read that, and I read whoever has and whoever does not has, the has is not material things. It's sight.
Right.
It's
Vision.
Truth. Oh my God.
Right.
Let's get into that today.
Okay.
I think this is amazing.
Like Ms. Redhead says, the rich gets rich and the poor get poor.
Yeah, but
yes, that's true.
And some of the rich aren't going to get richer because they don't have. So remember, when we're talking about whoever has, we're not only talking about money. I want y'all to zoom out. I'm bringing y'all into my world of how my mind works when I'm studying. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting this epiphany, because we know plenty of rich and wealthy people who have had, and all of a sudden you see them on the news. You're like, I can't believe that happened to them, right?
Yes.
I can't believe this happened. They didn't have. So we're not talking about material riches.
Yeah, because a lot of people that have material riches are still very unhappy.
Very unhappy because they don't have.
Right.
Right?
Right.
According to the scripture.
Right.
And so that's why I titled this show Hidden in Plain Sight, because I don't want y'all to get caught up in the material thing and the money. I don't want y'all to get caught up in what's going on in the world. When we talk about the wisdom, the truth,
right,
that's what we're talking about. So a lot of times on this show, when we talk, we love that the conversations that we have are conversations that you can't go 50 different places, or let me pull it back. You can't even go 2 places and have these same conversations. We love that because that means that we are having conversations that the masses aren't having.
Right. That's true.
I feel like I'm so excited. Let me let you talk now.
No, I'm listening to you because, you know, this is my thing. This is how I live. You know, and you know, people, people look, you know, they hear me talk. I use a lot of metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I use a lot of metaphors, because when you use metaphors, it's absolute truth and you can back it up, and it's a principle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could check it by saying, you know, it makes sense. In other words, if you hear me say the glass is half empty and half full, you don't know what that means. You can just go get a glass and pour some water in halfway,
mm-hmm.
and you'll see it's half empty and half full.
Mm-hmm.
And you got different opinions, you know. It's so I use that vision, what you're talking about in Matthew's, the parables, in order to understand, to learn, and to grow. And it helps me and navigates me on what moves to make, or does it make sense or not. And then it helps me to see what other people can't see with their eyes. They're like, how did you know? And I said, because I can see different than how you all can see.
And so let's talk about that, right? So using your example of the glass half full and the glass half empty,
Perception,
right? Perception. And then also in the Bible, again, this ain't about religion, but we're going to use this because most of us, many of us have heard about the Bible.
Or you say ancient writing. I say ancient writing. I say scripture. Some people are like, I ain't the Bible. Yeah, the Bible. You know what I mean?
And you know what? Those, they don't have. Those are the ones that he talking about. Y'all ain't got.
Oh, it's a lot of the people that go to Bible study every day don't have.
Absolutely.
Because there's some also says ever learning and studying, but never coming to the realization of truth.
Yes, absolutely. So when in the Bible, when you hear Jesus speak of parables, just as Mr. Henderson says, he uses metaphors. You will always be met with people who will say, using your metaphor of the glass half empty, like, you know, you can actually go pick up a glass and pour it. There will be some people, and this is how you know who have and who have not, who will look at that and say, yeah, I see what you're saying. And then there are some people who are going to get caught up in the arguing you down about, what are you talking about? No, the glass is slanted. No, you can see it this with it. And you immediately are able to know who has and who has not. So for those of you who are just joining us, let's pull up the scripture. Entertainment.
How you doing, Carol Miller? It's I see. Jerome McMillan.
Let's
What's
pull
up,
up the
man? What's
scripture
up?
so
Hey,
that you
Jerome,
can have a reference point. Okay, you want to
Tracy.
finish giving your shout outs?
Yeah,
You act like
Tracy
you in a let
Tompkins.
out right
Hey,
now.
Jerome just text me and said hello to you, me, Linda, and the whole gang here. You know what I mean?
Can I get back in the
Yeah.
pulpit
What's
with
up,
the
brother?
scripture?
My mother. Okay, Heisey having a good time about this parable, and she's all excited, which I'm so happy and glad because her side is there. But go ahead.
I mean, I could be watching Real
No, you could.
Housewives or something.
No. You get into the thick of the thing. You getting into it.
So I'm going to read this for y'all. And again, this ain't about religion, but we're going to break it down because a lot of this, once you understand this, you will be able to relate this to what's going on in the world. And there are big changes going on in the world. Matthew 13:10 says, the disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak in parables, my Lord? Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. Jesus spoke all these things to the crowds in parables. He did not say anything to them without a parable. And so if you're just joining us, we're not talking about material things. We're not talking about whether you Christian, atheist, whatever. We're not talking about that. We are talking about the having and the having not. And it's not material things. It is the ability, the sight to be able to see truth and accept truth.
Right. Because and what Ice is basically saying, there's more things going on than meets the eye. There's a whole lot of things that are going on that meets the eye, and most people just looking at things at face value. You see it or you don't see it, and you don't believe it. But you know, even creativity, even planning is seeing something before you actually see it with your naked eye. You know, and then you believe it, and then it comes. So all of that is but a lot of what Heisey is talking about right now, it's so foreign to probably 95% of people, because it's using your imagination. It's also a way of thinking, and most people don't think, because in America we've been taught to just do what we've been told, and think what we've been told to think, not really how to think. And even back in the ancient writings and the biblical days, even Jesus, that's what he was talking about. He was basically telling people how to see beyond their eyes, to have vision. You know, this morning I was in the bathroom and I was thinking about, you know, what's happening in terms of inflation, and people still, a lot of people common people don't understand what's really going on in terms of what is this inflation. You hear the word inflation, but it's just a word to a lot of people. They hear it, and a lot of people can go to the dictionary and actually regurgitate what it says, but still, that's why in the scriptures, in Matthew says, also in the scriptures, it says forever learning and studying and never coming to the realization of truth. That's why it's a lot of people that have master's degrees, PhDs, and they're still broke. They're still unfilled. And they keep getting this stuff because they're thinking that titles and stuff is the answer, but it really isn't. It really isn't. You can never trump or go above or out manipulate the truth, the system. You can't have enough money. You can't buy this thing. It is something likened to heaven. Basically, it's a feeling, you know, and you have to, and when you have it, and if you want to get it, you'll do anything possible to get it in order to get it. Because when you have it, you have something. Now, let me give an example what I mean by that in terms of what we're talking about. A lot of things that are happening. And as soon as you learn how to use this vision, this sight that all of us really have, but we just don't know how to tap into it. And I'll give you a good example of if you want to know my example to explain to you on inflation, something that all of us can relate to. This is how the book of Matthew, when Jesus was talking, how he was using these rocks and sands and seeds and all that. It wasn't literally seeds and garden and all that. It was metaphor. It had meaning to it. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to explain inflation. So here you are. Here's a woman that has a newborn baby. And everybody's so happy that this lady has a newborn baby, and they start bringing, at the baby shower, they bring gifts. And a lot of times they bring the outfits. And one will say from 0 to 6 months old, right? And then the baby comes, you know, you have the baby, and now you know the baby have baby clothes from 1 to 6 months old. Then you have some people that will bring a 12-month-old outfits. Why? Because we know that what? the
The baby's
going
going to grow.
Exactly. Okay. So imagine you have a baby and the baby's 6 months old, and you have just enough money to buy 6-month clothes that will fit a 6-month-old. That's all the money you have.
Okay.
And you think, okay, I'm set. My baby is 6 months old. I just went and bought my baby a whole lot of clothes, and man, we set. Then all of a sudden, the baby is 12 months. You trying to put the 6-month clothes on the 12-month-old baby. That's going to be tight, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's another way of looking at inflation. The cost of stuff, material that you need, really is going up higher than what you have money to pay for. If you only have money for you only have money to pay for the clothes when the child was 6 years old, then that means the child keeps growing. Now the child gonna be 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. Is your money still keeping up with that 2-year-old, 3-year-old being able to buy clothes and continue to stay the cost of living? Are you still being able to keep up when the child is 6 years old? Can you go buy 6-year-old clothes, and can you do that? Or you still only have money because you're stuck on being able to afford clothes for a 6-month-old? So inflation is really the cost of goods and services and products rising more than your money.
Absolutely.
And you know a child gonna keep growing.
And you know what a lot of our people are doing? They're sitting and hoping and waiting for the prices to go back down. Really and truly.
Yeah.
They're waiting. They think it's temporary.
Well, the thing is, like I said, we have found the enemy, and the enemy is us. The merchants, the people who are making money, they don't want to go backwards. They're making more money.
Right.
So they don't want to go backwards.
Yeah. And so you have to think about that, right? You really have to think about that. That's why when I was podcasting more on a regular basis, like in 2019 and 2020, I would always say, it's coming. Like, there is a great divide. You need to get ready for these times, and don't get caught up in the mask and the gloves and all that stuff like that, because there's so much more on the other side of this. So now that we have given you guys examples about what we mean by hidden in plain sight, and things are shifting and things like that, I know there's some of you who are watching this and you're like, wow, this is very interesting. I may be amongst the people who don't realize that truth is hidden in plain sight. So let's give them some things that they should be focusing on or thinking about. So for me, one of the biggest ways that you can identify if you are not thinking on your own, because as Mr. Anderson said, we are not really taught how to think. We're just told what to believe.
Right. And what to think.
Yeah. Don't let that go past you.
Think Columbus discovered America.
Right. Just whatever they
That's
tell
not
you
true.
on the news is true. And a lot of times I say, y'all don't have no business watching the news. It's not because I'm picking on you or picking on TV or whatever the case may be, or the cable companies. It is because until your mind is developed enough to understand that what they are telling you 99% of the time is not rooted in truth, it's what they want you to believe, then you will allow the news and television to program your mind, and then you'll go out in the world and you should be focused on this, all the changes that are taking place, and you're still focused on the foolishness that they're pumping in the news. Did you know that I've mentioned the word blockchain on this show once before, and I think I came back a few weeks ago and asked if anyone, researched it or did it, and only one person did. But I was reading last night that they are tokenizing real estate.
Yes.
Do you understand that's going to be on the blockchain?
Yes.
Do you understand that title companies, all the different parties that are involved in a real estate transaction, just like last show I said, gosh, I remember when I first started working here, we had couriers to deliver packages because we weren't able to email closing documents.
Right.
That's going to be gone.
It's passing.
It's right now
It's
there is
temporary.
technology on the blockchain technology that will allow you to close in a real estate transaction in 45 seconds.
Right.
Not days.
And don't even need a title company.
No, 45 seconds.
Right.
Realtors, you up next. You up next. It's your time to shine.
It's like
What you
horse
gonna
and
do?
buggy.
Right? So when I think about this, and when I say, that's why I was like, gosh, those who have will have more, and those who have not, what they have will be taken from them. Let's use your real life example of where you're working or what you're doing. And you may be, able to sustain yourself now. If you do not have the ability to be able to see beyond what's presented in front of you, you're going to look up and what you have is going to be taken from you just because the times are changing. Not because anything is right or wrong, but because the times are changing. I'm going to say this. I'm going to pass the mic to you. Today, as I was cutting up my veggies and soaking my celery and washing my apples to juice, I said, Heist, this is stupid. I said to self, girl, this is stupid, right? You call yourself washing the pesticides off with some water and vinegar. Now, here it is. Say with me now. And I buy organic, right? But you still, when you buy organic, they say it what it is, right?
Yeah, they say what they want to say. Right.
This is stupid because if them people been spraying down this produce, don't you think that it has time to seep beyond the skin of the apple or the celery and things? And it's been sitting there and permeating for months and days and weeks, however long it took to grow. And here you go with your silly self. Talk about I got some water and vinegar to wash it off.
Right.
I don't believe it, but I still do it.
Because out of habit.
Right?
Habit or belief.
Because maybe it's like, I'm going to get a little bit of these pesticides off, right? But what I'm sharing with you, it's not about me washing my vegetables to prepare the juice. It's about the ability to be able to think a couple of layers down and say, really, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is this making sense? And then some of y'all still eating the packaged food, talking about it's healthy for you. I seen where they passed, they want to put Lucky Charms and Lunchables in the school lunch.
Wow, I haven't heard that one. Yeah.
Yes.
They don't really care about people. But there's rumor that there's too many people on the planet, even though it's 8 billion people. But see, the thing is, what you're saying is you have to become woke and awaken your senses and yourself to seek that which is real and truth and read between the lines. Yeah. Because I think it was Saturday I said on the show, me and James T, I said, it took me a while I didn't want to believe that, a lot of merchants and a lot of people, a lot of grown people, business people will just actually lie to you. And they do it as they don't look at a lie as you and I will look at a lie like, oh my God, you lied. They look at it as a necessary tool.
Yeah, you just gotta say it.
That's like a tool. Have a carpenter have some pliers and a screwdriver. They have let's put a lie in there. And they do that, and it's like they really don't believe in a God. They just use that, and you go, oh my God, this person cannot be lying.
They feel like it's just a part of the process.
No, and they use it, especially in military and war. Especially to tell us on TV, you know what I mean? Gracious, yeah. You always tell people something else, and you go that way. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, look at this. I just read that the U.S. says they okay $16 billion for Ukraine. 16 billion with a B.
With the B, and in the meantime, in between time, right here in the United States of America, they're cutting the people food stamps. They're cutting the food stamps. Talking about we ain't got enough. But hold up.
And education and all kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, what if the war wouldn't have happened? Okay, let's go back 3 years ago. Let's go back 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And you say, hey, you need 16 billion to help the cause and the people. We ain't got that money.
You ain't got it.
Well, all of a sudden, there's a war and we need them as partners, send them 16 billion. Now, 16 billion, let me tell you something. When they send that money with a B, it ain't going in the canal. It ain't disappearing. I promise you, it's going to some business owners that make stuff, and that profit is going in their pockets, and they're getting wealthier. I'm telling you, you got to think about it.
What was that movie with the arms dealers? And it was talking about the war against terrorism, the war in Afghanistan or whatever.
Yeah, I can't think of the name.
With the arms dealers, and it showed you. I'm gonna look it up while you're talking, and it showed you. It's based on a true story.
It's amazing. So what they don't want us to do, and especially people, there's a big push, and they saying the biggest threat for mankind is people waking up to what we're talking about. They say that's the biggest threat to mankind. It's like knowing that the Wizard of Oz, and finding out that there was a little man, behind the curtain, that it wasn't really a Wizard of Oz, and that's the biggest threat. So when we start learning about the truth of stuff, then the so-called powers that be, they said that is the biggest threat when you and I and everybody start being awoke and saying, okay, Christopher Columbus really didn't discover America. The Indians were here. We're a threat. I mean, you're a threat.
Mhm.
You know, when you're a threat, when you see that they're ripping us off with food, with prices and everything, you become a threat anytime you can actually see clear. But then again, you know, that's been in all the holy books too.
Absolutely.
You're a threat.
Yeah, that's why I say it's hidden in plain sight. So the name of the movie that I'm referencing is War Dogs. I want y'all to go watch it. I want you to watch. Y'all know I don't just be watching movies and TV just to be like, oh, entertain me. No, it's a deeper reason why. So watch the movie so that you can understand it. Now you won't get all caught up in like, oh, pray for Ukraine. You'll understand it. It's a business, right? And so when you understand that, understand and overstand, then you're able to make different moves for yourself, right? So the reason why I wanted to talk about this on today's show is because I feel like there's a lot of chatter. And this is why I always say 95% of what's going on in the world has nothing to do with you. There is a lot of chatter that's going on, and we can get caught up in the foolishness and then find ourselves unprepared, so that when things start shifting, you're like, dang, how did I go from making this to this? How did I go from being able to sustain and live comfortably, financially independent, and now I'm barely making ends meet? Like, y'all got to be looking at what's happening with all the technology. That's a big thing. Every single day, you should be thinking about what you do in the world and how technology can affect you. And going back to when Mr. Henderson used the term woke, right? So what I wanted to say is we're sharing this information not so that you lean all the way far to one side of the coin, because there needs to be a balance and there needs to be harmony, right? So as much as I am a nerd, a geek, or woke, or whatever term you label you want to use, y'all know you will see me out and about having a phenomenal time, right? So I am not so woke that I am not able to enjoy life. And I figure that you need to say that. That needs to be said, because sometimes when you first start realizing the things that are hidden in plain sight, you will make the mistake of going around trying to bully people into your beliefs, and what you become is a belief bully. And you start saying, yeah, I don't know this. Like, I'm gonna let you eat whatever you want to eat. Like him, I may be like, you eating that again? But other than that, y'all, I'm gonna let you eat what you want to eat. I'm gonna let you do what you want to do. But then I'm going to make different choices for myself. And that's very important for you to know, because as you begin to seek and learn more information, you cannot spend your time trying to make anyone else because you are out of order.
Right. Because you cannot, there's nobody to change but yourself.
Yes.
That's a law. There's nothing and no one to change ever but yourself. And if you try to violate that law, which most of us do, the pain comes to you. You feel it, not the other person. The other person feel like you're nagging them. So as long as you understand there's never nothing and nobody to change but yourself, how you see it, your perspective. You know, when we started, we were talking about hidden in plain sight, and you started talking about in the scriptures, the Matthews, and how Jesus spoke a lot of parables and metaphors. And he did that because the people that had ears could hear, and some people just would hear the words and not understand what he was saying. It was almost like, it's like cold. If you're not there, then you need to ask somebody. You need to find out what's going on, because whatever is being spoken, there's always another side to it. That goes on now. In other words, to give you a good example, if I say, hey y'all, if the washer don't get you, the rinser will. For many of you all, when I said if the washer don't get you, the rinser will, for many of you all, you literally started thinking about GE or Kenmore or Samsung washer. You start, a Maytag washer, or you start thinking about a rinser, Maytag or GE or Samsung rinser. But I wasn't talking about them at all. I used those as words, but the meaning means, what does the meaning mean? If the washer don't get you, the rinser will. What does it really mean? Don't have nothing to do with washer. That's what they put in our face, and that's what we run off with. But when I say the washer don't get you, the rinser will, that means that you might have got by, but you're going to get caught. Nobody gets away. You might have got by. You might have done something. Okay. All right. But it ain't over yet. You're going to get yours. That's what that really means. That's what it means. A man say, listen, I robbed the bank. I got away. Okay. If the washer don't get you, the rinser will. Okay. You robbed the bank and you did it with your friends. Okay. Now your friend told his girlfriend. Okay. Now the police at your door. It comes back. It's karma. So it means more than what I just said. It means more than what was spoken. So you got to understand what the meaning is. Much more powerful. What is not said is much more powerful than what is said.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
I'll give you another example on that. What oftentimes is not said is more powerful than said. Here you have a girl, young lady, and she tells her boyfriend, I love you so much. And he says, okay. He's okay. And she always says, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm going to work. I love you. And he says, okay.
Give me a kiss. Give me
a kiss. And he says, okay. Now she said, I love you. He says, okay. And she just riding off. It didn't dawn on her that he did not, what he didn't say was more powerful than him saying, okay.
Right. What he didn't say said more about what he actually said.
Exactly. What he
So he's saying okay, but he didn't say how he felt. Right. He didn't say I love you. So let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Do you love me or do you love me not?
Right. You never said, Another one was, hey, you going for this job interview? Oh my God, you so good. Oh my God, you were so wonderful. I got your application and your application looks so good. Oh my God, we really, really love the way you answered this and you nailed this application, Okay, we'll call you later, okay? We'll see you. All right, bam. You go home. I nailed the application. I got this. Someone gonna say, are you hired?
Right.
Well, they didn't say that.
Right. They just said they loved it. And so this is good because when you think about the news, I'm gonna keep picking on the news so y'all get it. When the things that they say, most times people get so caught up on what they say. Well, they said do this and they said do that, and so it must be. And the same exact thing happens with your food. So between the news, if you want to ascend and open up your mind a little bit, because everybody has this capability. If you want to be able to open up your mind so that you can more readily see and recognize truth, start with these two things: the news, the TV, social media, and food. Because here's the thing: the chemicals that they intentionally put in your food disrupt your body's natural process. They slow your brain down. They make you tired. They block your pineal gland. They do all these different things. They disrupt your hormones so that you're not able to be open and conscious and to think. So your food is making you or contributing to you being a walking zombie, along with the marketing messages, along with the news. And so there came to a point, I remember that's why sometimes y'all will hear me say, dang, I sure want to be an Impossible Whopper, but I don't eat them, right? And there was a one point in time where I used to bust down an Impossible Whopper. Like, listen, I used to bust it down because I used to love them. But I remember there was a time where I would buy a lot of packaged or processed vegan or plant-based food. And what I realized, I had to come to the understanding that while I may not be eating beef, which is just beef, like it's just beef. That's it. You want a burger? It's just beef. When I flip that box over and I see that long list of ingredients that I cannot pronounce, and then I started paying attention to how I felt after I ate it, and then I started studying and researching and learning about all the different ingredients and how they cause inflammation and things like that and how your body responds. And then I did an elimination diet and took those things and was like, oh my gosh, I could fly right now. Then I was like, oh, I can't be eating that no more.
And then you think about, oh my God, these are grown people, so-called law-abiding citizens, go to church, and they are selling this stuff to millions and millions of people, making profits and killing people. How could they have a conscience?
Yep.
How could they do that knowing that this stuff is junk?
Yeah.
And they brand it and package it and they don't care.
Even ketchup.
Yes.
Do you know how many ingredients they got in ketchup? When I look at that, and so it's not just about, so for some of y'all gonna be like, this ain't for me. I understand you will have less, like the scripture said. It will be taken from you, right?
Bet you had a drink this morning. You know what you're saying is so true, because I on Tuesday night, I go to your grandmother, my mother's house,
Mhm.
right? After I leave the office, and we put the puzzle together and we talk. So I was in her, I was there, and I was in a bedroom, and she was just eating something. We were talking, and she was watching BET,
Mm-hmm.
and this couple, I don't even know the name of it, but he's a chubby guy and his chubby wife,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on BET, and it's like they do a lot of Tyler Perry movies,
You know,
But
I know I can see their visuals, but I don't know the name of the show
I don't know,
because
right?
they've been doing the movies for a long time.
Right, and it's a chubby lady, and
she's light skinned, right?
Yeah, well, kind of brown skin, yes.
Well, I don't know.
And then her, and they were doing the show, and it's a comedy and all that. And so mom was sitting up there when I came in, and she was watching it, right? And I sit there, and I was talking to her, and I glanced over at it, and I looked at it, and what I saw, I said, Lord, 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 I can't get none of them life insurance.
Right.
That's what I said.
Right.
I said, my mom would say, what? I said, look at his stomach way over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cedric the Entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
He was on that show. He came in, and I seen him by the bus, and he was talking to his wife. And I said, oh Lord, I don't know no life insurance company that will insure him.
And they're getting stricter these days.
I said that. My mom was like, what are you talking about? I said, no. Look, she's 5'2", 325 pounds. The life insurance company. My mama said, "Well, why? Why would they turn it down? I mean, look. I mean,
because you have no control. I do that when I'm dating too. I'm like, you trying to holler at who?
But I said, okay. I said, all the life insurance
you
strategies,
like who?
The wealth building, legacy, all this tax-free money and stuff. It's a strategy. And I looked at them and I said, oh my God, I couldn't get them approved.
And so, really, I love that you use the word strategy because they only see it as I'm having a good time with this food and lack of exercise, right?
Yeah.
But it's a strategy. That they are missing out on
a financial wealth building legacy strategy that they can't qualify for. And then my mom say, well, why? They doing okay? I mean, I said, no, mom, not according to the data. I mean, if you 5'2" and 325 pounds, they feel, I say, mom, all of us got probably about this, the average heart is the same for everybody, size. Now, if you got to pump that blood through all of that back around, and then somebody who's slim, that heart got a lot of strain on it. And then the knees and the weight. I said, mom, so the life insurance companies, they're professional risk takers. They got to pay. One day, all of us going to leave this planet. They got to pay tax-free. It's guaranteed. But if you just keep on blue, 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 they said, no. And I said, so my point is, in plain sight, I looked at that differently than my mom was looking.
Than the average person.
Right,
absolutely. Same thing happened when I took the kids to see Shazam.
Yeah.
Did you know what that is?
No, I don't know what Shazam is.
I took them to see Shazam. Do you know? You don't?
I really don't know what Shazam is.
All right. I took them to see it. I didn't know what it was until I went to see Creed, the Man with Muscles last week. And when I saw that they did a preview for Shazam, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Like music or something?
No, it's like superhero.
Oh, I know.
It might be Marvel or one of those people. It's superhero. And don't count that out, right? So I took them to see that on Monday. And all the messaging that was in the movie. And as I was leaving, I said, gosh, everyone in this theater is going to see this differently. They're going to have a different experience. There were a lot of children in there. I took the children and they're like, yeah, Shazam, powder. And then there are some adults and, but everyone's going to have a different experience. There are things that I was able to see. I heard them mention King Solomon and different powers. Some people don't even know who King Solomon is. They don't know. Right. So I saw when the goddesses came in and they put the firmament over the city, right? And some people don't know what a firmament is and they don't understand like what happened. So it really, I want y'all to go see that too if you got time, because depending on where you are, you will see how a lot of that relates to what's going on in the real world, as we like to call it now. And one of the things that I always remind myself and I remind y'all is you can always do better. So you can always get more knowledge. You can always open yourself up. When you start being selective about what you consume, not just in your mouth, but mentally as well, the people who you're around, then you will start to be able to move towards the people who actually have and will be able to have more, because nobody is going to give more truth to the people who don't recognize truth. It just doesn't make any sense. Like if I'm giving you truth and I'm sharing this with you, that's why the teacher always loves a good student. because it's like, oh, wow, you're taking this, you're applying what I'm teaching you. I can see it by evidence of the world and the life that you're living. I can see that you're applying this. Let me give you more.
Right.
But oftentimes people sit there and they're like, why didn't I get that opportunity? Well, you're not doing well with the opportunities you have now. Why would I give you another opportunity when you aren't doing well with the opportunities that you have now? That reminds me of the other scripture when it talks about not planting seeds on concrete. Isn't that in Matthew too?
Yes.
Like, why would I take some seeds that I want to grow and put them on concrete,
not on fertile ground, right?
And say, oh my gosh, it's been a year, why hasn't it grown? So as you think of yourself and say, if things aren't moving for me, if I'm not moving to the place where I have more, what side of the coin am I on? Am I on the side of the coin who does not have wisdom?
Right. And the people who look at you and you're not moving or growing, they don't feel sorry for you because they feel that the Creator created them and created you. And if you see that you're not going anywhere, then you need to change and you need to make the change. And if you don't make the change, then you can't really blame anyone but yourself. So they don't feel, especially if you have the power of choice and you can move, you can move, you could vote, you could actually change. And and if you don't change it, then a lot of people who are changing, they don't really feel sorry for you because you don't have the strength or discipline to change,
Yeah, it's very important. So as you watch this show and you digest and like, dang, how I want to move, I want to be able to see things that are hidden in plain sight. Understand that it's not going to be a whole lot of y'all. Like if you got 10 friends, you may be blessed if you have one that you can speak this language with. Don't be upset because if you have none. Understand that. So if you're able to have these types of conversations with all you, then you like, wait a minute, all y'all agree with me? All of y'all agree there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I want you to think about that and use that as an indicator for the direction that you're going in and open yourself up. You're going to have those breakout moments, those breakthrough. One of the things that I remind myself of often is, yes, Hyacinth, it may seem lonely as you're doing this, reading this, doing all these things, whatever the case may be. But don't forget that you have the gift of being ahead. It reminds us of what we were talking about, QR codes, right?
Right.
So we were talking about QR codes with something that we're doing in the office. And Henderson said, remember we had those on our business cards probably 7-8 years ago?
Yeah.
7-6. We had QR codes on our business cards.
Then, way back then.
So now we don't carry business cards. Well, I don't carry. Do you carry business cards? But we had them. So, and we were like, there weren't a lot of people who had them on their business cards. And I'm sharing that because as you go through your journey, grow through your journey, it's going to feel like, dang, why am I doing this? And they're not doing that. They don't get it. They don't understand. Keep going because they'll catch up, but you may be a leader. I feel your energy like kind of withering away and leaving this seat. Your body is here.
That's not true. I was thinking about what you were saying actually. And I was saying how, when we're saying it's more than what you can see. There's always two things going on. It's always two things going on, not just what you see, but what you don't see. I can't stress that enough. And I've always, if you work with me in terms of planning, I'm always going to have you stretch. I'm going to have you. And oftentimes when I plan for you and I help you to plan, you can't see down the road. I can see it. It's, I know the baby is, 6 months old and I know the baby is going to get a year. And now next, the baby's going to be 6 years old and going to first grade. That's what I plan for. That's what I see. Most people don't plan for that. So if you continue to create, save, plant your seeds, I promise you're going to get to the promised land. The problem is most people want things now. That's the trade-off. That's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against instant gratification. And it's not just young people. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of older people, middle-aged people that still don't get that. They still do not understand that. And, some people go and they die not understanding, but it's here. And I think that's what the whole thing is about: understanding, learning who you are, understanding having a goal and being committed. And you don't always, when you're having a goal and being committed, and you're working on something, in the beginning, it's not always fun. That's the smoke screen. It's not always fun. Okay. Meaning that you're going to be sacrificed because you have to be uncomfortable. If you're going to grow, think about this. If you're going to grow and advance, you have to do things you've never done before. That in itself is scary and uncomfortable. But that is a sight. That is an indicator that you're on the right track because you're doing something that you haven't done before. And you are sacrificing because you could be eating up all your food, eating up all your money, but you said, no, I'm going to plant seeds for later on. I mean, if we took a poll now and we said we have two tractor trailer trucks that's going to pull up. One is going to be filled with seeds. The other one's going to be filled with fruit.
Mm-hmm.
How many people you think will go to the truck that got seeds, and how many think the people will go and line up for the truck that got the fruit?
So the masses are going to choose the fruit, and they're not even going to think about the fact that you ain't even going to be able to eat all this. Like, how you go? Well, it's a lot. Then they gonna start. I'm finna. I could sell it. I could do this. I could make fruit. I'm finna, and then it spoils.
And they gonna run over each other, stampede over there, trying to get there.
You don't even. When the last time you even had watermelon? You don't even eat kiwi. What you rushing to this truck for? Go ahead and get you some seeds, bruh, so you can understand how to research plant. You can plant some now. Plant some in 6 months. Plant some in 12 months. You can eat for a long period of time. But that's true. Most people want it right now.
Yeah, they want it right now.
Give it to me right now.
They want, and it's not just the young. It's people that are 40, 50. A lot of people that's 40, 50, 60 years old, they feel like they've deprived themselves and they want it right now. But I
deserve this.
I deserve it. But when you deserve it and you want to live another 30, 40 years, you know, there's something called longevity risk.
You know, we get that a lot with the retirees.
Yes.
I deserve this. This is my dream car.
That's right.
I deserve it. I hear what you're saying, Mr. Henderson.
Yeah.
I gotta take this trip. We're giving you real examples because we want you to see yourself in yourself. So I don't mind if I step on your toes a little bit, right? Because I want you to think about this. I don't want you to go down with the ship. I deserve this. And your friends, they gonna hype you. Girl, you do deserve that car. You was a good employee. You worked a lot of years on that job. And so because you want to outsmart the system and you got a chunk of money, I'm gonna pay for it cash.
I got one client. He wanted that G-Wagon, you know, it was $190,000 car. He wanted it real bad, right? So I kept telling him, don't get it, but he wanted to get it, right? So he got it. He's paying $2,400 a month. So then he rode it for about a year. He said he got rid of that thing. I said, why? He said, because first of all, the gas was $150 a week. Secondly, he said he's over it. So he said, I'm back, Rob. You know? So I know, but at least he got out of it, you know? But a lot of people, you know, you get stuck in that quicksand and you get Jedi mind. Would you say there's a lot of people still don't know what they want?
Absolutely. They don't know what they want.
Right.
They're listening to what others tell them they should want or they're supposed to have or how it's supposed to look.
I remember
but
Dennis,
they don't know what they want.
God bless his dad, a good friend of ours, Dennis. He used to always tell me, Rob, why you don't go get that big body Mercedes Benz, man? He said, you make enough money, go get that big body. I said, because it ain't gonna make me happy.
Yeah.
I said, it may make you happy to see me in a big body Benz, but it ain't gonna make me happy. Honestly, it won't make me happy. I think that a lot of people, rather than things that are making them happy, especially as you get older, want to make other people happy and say, look at me, but it doesn't really make you happy.
Right. As long as it's something that you want, because this is not to say that we don't like a good luxurious experience.
No, we like good luxury stuff.
Especially speaking
we like
for
to travel.
myself. I don't want you to think.
No, we like to travel. We like private planes. We like all that. It's how we do it.
And if we want it, right?
Right.
Not for other people, right? So I don't get it twisted.
And we like to eat good. I love eating good.
Absolutely.
And love to travel. So we're not talking about poverty stuff here. We're saying how you do it. And plus, you know, you really have to pay your dues. I mean, we're big on farm. I use farming as a metaphor a lot. And if you think about a farmer, and all of us are farmers, believe it or not, we really are. We might not be on the field out there, but we are planting. We are planting, we're harvesting, and some of us are not planting, and some of us are not harvesting, and we wonder why.
And have the nerve to be like, why am I hungry? Well, what are you planting?
Right. Well, I don't have.
What are you planting? What are you planting? And so don't get caught up. We started this show. If you came in late, please go back and watch the beginning, because we started off talking about, we read the scripture, although this ain't church. And then we started talking about possessions and what you have. And I want y'all to see past the money. You're going to need money because right now that's what we use to barter. That's what you use to exchange right? So that's really the only reason why you need it. But if you only have money and you don't have wisdom, knowledge, if you cannot see, if you don't have sight, you're gonna be out of gas, right? And so that's where the scripture says those who have will be given more, and those who have not, what they have will be taken from them. It's not about your money. That's going to be taken from you too, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the wisdom. We're talking about the understanding. We're talking about vision. We're talking about sight. And that's what we want you to tap into. So that's the purpose of today's show, not to scare you, but to prepare you, because things are absolutely changing. I said this back in 2020. I said, wait around to 2023, 2024, 2025. The way that you do business, the way that you work is going to be completely different. And you must understand that, and you must know that. All right. We have been on here. It's about 1:37 and I got to go.
Me too.
You too. Us too. All right. So make sure you run the tape back if you came in late. Share this with the people. Share this with the people that you don't want to be left behind. And Saturday in the AM, 9 a.m.
Yes, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. The Understanding Money Show will kick off. Y'all doing one show or two?
One
show. So just 9 a.m. on Saturday in the AM. And then next Wednesday, next week, Mr. Henderson and myself will be back around noon-ish, heavy on the ish.
Read between the lines, right?
And yeah, so thank y'all so much for being here. Make sure you share this video, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace, my love.